This is the Fred Perrin designed Spyderco Street Bowie. If you don't know who Fred Perrin is, he's a former French commando and, competitive martial artist, collie man, just general professional badass and knife maker and self-defense implement designer. He's really known for this right here. He does do a lot of Bowie knives, small stashable Bowie knives, but this concept right here of the deep finger choil and then the knife itself being used as the guard. And that is something that he adopted from traditional French knives used for self-defense that actually look a lot like kitchen knives, where the finger and thumb grip, it's very thin and you have the blade acting as the guard. So that's a kind of a main tenet to his design style. He is definitely worth a follow on Instagram, by the way. Fred Perrin Concepts is how you'll find him. And every day he's posting shots of homemade knives and like ice picks and garrots and all sorts of nasty looking weapons, kind of mixed in with sort of ritualized trinkety things, kind of like you'll see with the Ed Calderon and the Libra fighting kind of Instagram shots, where they're all sorts of little doodads and cards and stuff in the shot. Anyway, that's long for saying check out Fred Perrin, French badass, and also maker of very cool knives. So Spyderco also makes one called the Street Beat Bowie, which I frequently call this, but that's wrong. This is the Street Bowie. Street Bowie has a 5-inch blade. This is VG10, by the way. 5 inches from, I guess, there. 5-inch blade, full flat ground, and black coated, PVD coated. And the Street Beat Bowie is 3.5 inches in blade length. I think the handle is the same, and it's polished. I'm not sure if it's VG10 or not. I'm pretty sure it is. And it's polished, so it looks different. And they also made one with a micarta handle, and it's a lot more expensive. I'm not sure if those are still available, but this one for now is. I have always wanted this. This is like the Cold Steel Kobun, which I still don't have after 15 years of wanting it. I still don't have it. $40 knife. I could have dropped it in my Amazon basket anytime, and I never did. And this was that knife also. But this is $115. It's easier to justify not buying than a $40 really awesome Bowie, Anyway, I guess I shouldn't get too upset at myself for such a thing, but this was one of those knives that I wanted for a long, long time and finally bought because I started to get spooked thinking, what if they discontinue this? I don't want to buy it at some point for $500 because I missed out. So I bought it. I don't know if that happens to you. You work yourself up into a lather and then you end up getting it. And then you're like, okay, I could have waited like 100 more years. But I've been burned that way before. So this injection molded plastic sheath, I don't think it's Kydex, fits beautifully. You can pop it off with your thumb really easily. Now, when I got it, the strange thing is when I got it, I had to really force the knife in there. And I was like, I got to return this. This thing is, I thought maybe one of those little silicone packs got jammed in there. And then I put it in my belt and wore it. It warmed up, and then after that, ever since then, it's been great. It goes in easily, it works well enough upside down if I needed to, not that I would. It's not coming out. Rattles a little bit, but it comes out very easily. You don't have to tug too hard. And that's what you want from a knife like this, because presumably you're carrying it because you're going to pull it out quickly and use in a self-defense situation. We'll talk about that in a second. One bummer thing about this sheath, listen to these grommets. You hear them? They're grommets in there, and they're holding the thing together, but they're not tight. They need to be they all need to be peened or tightened. One more hit of the mallet there, but they're all, listen. like sleigh bells there. But all in all, I'm happy with the sheath. I hear that the old version of the sheath was superior to this. I do like this mounting hardware. I wear this in the waistband, so the sheath is inside of my pants, and then this comes over my pants and my belt and locks in. And I wear it at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock on my waist, and it could be easily drawn like that in reverse grip. And then if you need to, readjust to do whatever you're doing, shave that meat, you're at a churrascaria or something, you can just turn it around. But it's readily available and quite comfortable there. Now, excuse me, I do not frequently EDC a fixed blade with a 5-inch blade. Usually it's 4.5 max, because you also have to deal with the handle. And 5-inch bladed knives usually have longer handles. Now this one is nice and short, and half of the handle is this choil, not half of the handle. A quarter of the handle is this choil. And then, so back here you have this nice rounded off area. It is a little bit pointed there, which makes for a great thumb capping. And it's all rounded. It's rounded this way, Coke bottle. Rounded here. All of these aspects are rounded, so they don't poke too badly into your ribs when you're sitting in the car. I mean, it doesn't poke into my ribs at all when I'm sitting in the car. I don't have to readjust the knife. It's nice and soft. Now this here is grippy, but it's not too grippy that it's grabbing your shirt and printing, which is good. I was concerned about that. And then just this general softness feels good against the skin. If you're EDCing a fixed blade the way I do in the waistband, it's going to be up against your body. So you want everything to be nicely rounded. And this is just a perfect example of that. I love short-handled fixed blade knives for this purpose. And, well, they did a great job. I was wondering, and if you are, the swedge does not come to a zero edge. I was hoping it would. Why not? Why not? But it doesn't. A zero ground edge here would be somewhat sharp, but it would be good for this kind of back cutting thing. And if you're using this for a knife fighting knife, because let's face it, that's what this is. Of course, it'd make a great camp knife, light duty camp knife. Wouldn't have to be black though. It would make a great utility knife, no doubt. But I mean, it's also pretty weapony, and I feel like this coming to a zero grind would be just great. It wouldn't be too sharp that it would cut you, but you could use it for some splitting and gouging and gashing action. Those are all ugly words, but they're real, so real talk. This is a little hole there that's unnecessary. It's there just as a tip of the hat to the Spyderco branding. You got the little spider there. You got Perrin, Fred Perrin. He's also responsible for the PPT, a really cool folder that Spyderco makes on and off. Okay, let me show you with a couple of knives here. I didn't bring any big Bowies in. I should have, but I didn't. What I'm going to show you are some fixed blade knives that I like to carry. But before I do, I'll show this with a knife that's here on loan from my good friend Ian. This is the Bastinelli Creations PY. PY stands for Protect Yourself, and it's designed by Fred Mastro. Also a French-speaking, though he's Belgian, European badass with a history of all sorts of exploits. A beautiful, beautiful knife, beautifully produced by Fox Knives. Same blade length, but much bigger in the handle here. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. Maybe much bigger is an exaggeration, but just enough that wearing this undercover or wearing this in the waistband under a shirt would be just a bit too much for me personally in my size. Maybe if you took this and kind of truncated it a little bit, but I would never do that to this knife. I just wouldn't carry this knife in that fashion. This is a beautiful thing. I can't wait to review this. Look at that Tanto tip. Incredible. So there it is with the Bastinelli Creations PY. Here it is with the one I've been carrying mostly recently, is the Rapid Strike by Tops Knives. This is a double-edged. You can opt to have it double-edged, but I believe it ships ordinarily just single edge. This one, I took the back end off. There was a pyramid-shaped glass breaker there that I ground off originally so that I could put my thumb over the back, but still, it just kept poking in my ribs when I would carry it, and I just would not carry it. So I decided to grind down the end a little bit and make it easier for carry. And now that it's got a small handle and it kind of gets not lost in my hands, it just nestles beautifully in my hands. I carry this a lot more. It just is a great and capable, what is this, 4.5 inches? 1, 2, 3. It's a very capable double-edged 4-inch blade, fixed blade with a small handle. So I'm carrying it now quite a bit. I like it. This has been carrying shockingly well. Look at the size difference. This has been carrying quite well. A couple others. This one I've been carrying a lot recently too. This is the Steingraber Performance Knives Shark, obviously a lot smaller. But this I carry right on my belt with this. This is from Tops. And it just rides sideways and discreet. I have it right in front of my, right next to my belt buckle. My jacket or sweater or whatever I'm wearing usually covers it up, and very, very handy and cool little fixed blade knife for EDC. Another one, you've seen this a lot. This is the Copus Designs Elvia, designed by Ed Calderon. This one I put wrap on just a little bit, just to grab, just to fill out the palm, make it easier to grab. And I've taken to, you know, it has this hook on the sheath so you can drop it in your pocket, and then when you remove it from your pocket, you can snag it and pull it right out of the sheath. I like that feature a lot, but I also like the cord thing. So I have it attached to my belt, and I'll either run the cord next to my belt and have this kind of just tucked sideways in the front, just riding horizontally, or drop it in the pocket, pull it out, and use it with that cord. I just like it that way. It's a new way of carrying it anyway. I mean, I don't need to hide out so much that people can't see cord on me. It's not like I'm doing drug deals and such, and I need to be all discreet but armed, you know. Two more great EDC knives. This one was probably my first fixed blade EDC knife. This is the Culloden by Cold Steel, circa 98 maybe. This is based on the Skiandu. I always mispronounce it. I had someone tell me how to pronounce it, and now I can't remember if I'm doing it correctly, but the Skiandu is the knife shaped much like this, usually with a shorter blade, and a wooden scabbard that sits in the sock of a Scotsman who's wearing a kilt. And the profile is generally the same of the handle, though it's not thin and flat like that. And this just makes a great, great knife. It tucks away very easily with this sheath. And a nice little thing, and maybe that's because Lynn Thompson is a man of ample carriage, but he has this, he built in this little extra bit of Kydex to sit against your flesh, so that when you're pulling it out, if you have any love handles protruding this way, you know, or any extra what have you, fleshiness kind of pushing this way, as you remove the knife, as you remove the knife, it's not going to slice your fat. Let's just say it that way. I mean, because that is a consideration when you're carrying fixed blade knives in the waistband like I do. Now, I went through the COVID weight loss program, and that actually helped on the spare tire situation. But still, it's something you have to consider, especially with handle size too. And now looking at this is a video, of course, about the Street Bowie, and with all of them, this is the largest handle, and yet it is incredibly comfortable. And I chalk it up to this shape and the contouring and the size. But that doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to leave it right there. I highly recommend this. This is the Fred Perrin designed Street Bowie by Spyderco. Take care.